Hello, and this is the JavaScript algorithms and data structure course. So, in this in this video we'll be doing some basic JavaScript. So, while HTML and CSS controls the content and styling of the page, JavaScript is used to make it interactive. In the JavaScript algorithm and data structure certification course, you will learn the fundamentals of the JavaScript, including variables, arrays, objects, loops, and functions. Once you have fundamental down, you can apply that knowledge by creating algorithms to manipulate strings, factorize numbers, and even calculate the orbit of the International Space Station. So along the way, you will learn two important programming style or paradigms, which is the object-oriented programming (OOP) and the functional programming approach (FP). So in this course, so the first one is the basic JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language you can use to make web page interactive. Okay, so it is one of the core technologies of the web along with HTML and CSS, and is supported by all the modern browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Edge, Microsoft Edge, and many more others. So in this course you will learn fundamental programming concept in JavaScript. You will start with basic data structures like numbers and strings. Okay, two type of data structures are numbers, which contains the numerical values, and strings containing the alphabetical values. Alphanumeric data structure will be learning. So then you learn to work with arrays, objects, functions, loops, if-else statement, and more. So first one, so the first thing which we will be starting in here is we have the topic wise courses. So first one, if you click on this, so comment your JavaScript code. So comments are lines of code that JavaScript will intentionally ignore. So comments are the great way to leave notes to yourself and to other people who will later need to figure out what the code does. There are two ways to write comments in JavaScript. So you can use double forward slash, which tell JavaScript to ignore the remainder of the text on the current line. This is an inline comment. Or you can do the multi-line comment beginning with the forward slash and asterisk and ending with asterisk and forward slash. This is the multi-line comment. So this is the forward inline comment and this is the multi-line comment. Now, as you write down the code, you should regularly add comments to clarify the functions of the part of your code. Good commenting can help communicate the intent of your code both for others and for you, your future self also. Try creating one of the, so we are here trying to create one of each type of comment. Okay, so how we can do that is, so by this, and you can, this will intentionally ignore the current line. So we can do like, so this is from, so this is the single line comment, and we can do the multi-line comment like this and like this. So inside of here everything will be ignored. So in here, this is my first JavaScript comment. the JavaScript basics, like this. Okay, this is how the multi-line comments work. You can add on more lines of codes, so all the lines, uh, all the comments between two uh, these two tabs will be ignored. So if you run the test, so we have completed. Now we are going to the next course. So how to declare the JavaScript variables. Okay, we are learning about the declaration of the JavaScript variables. In computer science, data is anything that is meaningful to the computer. JavaScript provides 8 different type of data types. So there are 8 different type of data types, which are undefined, null, boolean, string, symbol, big int, number, and object. So these are the 8 type of data types in the JavaScript. So we'll be learning about these in the coming ways. So for example, computer distinguish between numbers such as the number 1 2 and the strings, okay, such as this 1 2 0 1, everything is, so either the data is in the form of the numerical value or the alphabetical value, like this in the string, on the numbers, which is the collection of the characters. Computer can perform the mathematical operation on a number but not on a string. Okay, so there are two type of the basic data types, okay, which are the numbers and the strings. Okay, and in the numbers only we can perform the mathematical calculation. Okay, obviously we in the real world also we can only perform the mathematical calculation on the numbers. So variables allows computer to store and manipulate data in the dynamic fashion. So variables are just a container which stores the which allows computer to store the data, which then we can manipulate in the dynamic fashion. They do this by using a label to point to the data rather than use the data itself. So these variables are pointing to the data rather than using the data itself. Any of the eight type of eight data types of the JavaScript may be stored in a variable. Variable are smaller to the xy variables you use in mathematics. Okay, variables are similar to the xy variables that you use in the mathematics, which means they are a simple name to represent the data we want to refer to. Compute variables differ from the mathematical variable in that they can store variable values at different times. We tell JavaScript to create or declare the variable by putting the keyword var, which is the variable, in front of it, like so. So this is the var. Our name creates a variable called our name. In JavaScript we end statement with a semicolon. Okay, every statement in the JavaScript is ended using the semicolon. Variables name can be made up of numbers. Okay, so it can be made up of the numbers also, letter also, and dollar or the underscore, but may not contain space or start with a number. So it should not start with a number, but it may contain the dollar sign, the asterisk signs, and it can be made up of numbers, okay, and the letters. Use the var keyword to create a variable called my name. So we have to create this name variable name. So how we can create that is use the var keyword to declare the variable and give it a name like the my name and end with the semicolon. And if you so you should declare the my name with the var keyword ending with a semicolon. So if you run the test, it is completed. Now going on to the next. So storing values with the assignment operators. Okay, so we are learning about the assignment operators to store any values. In JavaScript, you can store in a variable with the assignment operator. This is the assignment operator, which is the equals to sign. So my variable is equals to 5 indeed with the semicolon. So this assign the number 5 to the my variable. Okay, if there are many calculations to the right of the equals to, so this is the right of the equals to, those are performed before the value is assigned to the variables on the left of the operator. So these are assigned in the left of the operator. So we are declaring the variable and giving it the assigning the this my var value 5. For this code creates the variable name my var, then the code assigned 5 to my var. Now if my var appears again in the code, the program will treat it as a 5. Assign the value 7 to the variable a. Okay, so how we can do that is you should not change the code above the specified comment. A should have the value of 7. So how we can do that is, so we have declared the variable a. Now we have to assign the variable using the assignment operator. So how we can do that is a is equals to 7. So end with a semicolon. So if you run the test, we can now go on to the next challenge. So ask me later. Now assigning the value of one variable to another variable. After the value is assigned to a variable using the assignment operator, you can assign the value of the variable in another variable using the same assignment operator. So here we have declared my var variable, assigned my var to 5 to my var. Okay, then we have create another variable which is the my num, and we have assigned the my var. So the my var is the 5 to the my num models. So the above code declares the my var variable with no value, then assign it value 5. Next, a variable named my num is declared with no value, then the contents of the my var, which is the 5, is assigned to the variable my num. Now my num also has the value of 5. So both my var is equals to 5 and my num is also the 5. So assign the contents of the a to variable b. So how we can do that is, you should not change the code above the specified comment. B should have a value of 7. Okay, b should have the value of 7. A should be assigned to b with equals to sign. So how we can do that is, go on here, we have declared the variable a, assigned 7 to a, declared the variable b. Now assigning the b to a. Now the value of a, which is 7, is assigned to the variable b. So end with a semicolon. If you run the test, so it is completed. Go on to the next challenge. So now initializing variables with the assignment operator. It is a common to initialize a variable to an initial value in the same line as it declared. So in the previous challenges, what we did is we declared the variable and we assigned the variable to its value. Now what we are doing is we are declaring and assigning a value in the same line at the same time. So creates a new variable called my var and assign it an initial value of 0. So sometimes we need such type of cases where we have to declare the variable name and assign a value at the same time. So we are doing same thing with next variable. So define a variable a with var keyword and initialize it to a value of 9 in the same line. So how we can do that is, so we have to first create a variable a and initialize it with the value 9 and end with a semicolon. So if you run the test, you should initialize a to the value of 9. So if you run the test, we can go on to the next challenge. So understanding the uninitialized variables. So when JavaScript variables are declared, they have an initial value of undefined. If we declare any variable, so if we print the type of this variable, then it will give the undefined. Okay, it is not defined what is this type. If we give the a, okay, if we give a, if you assign a to the numerical value, then only it will give that it is the integer type. So if you do not perform the mathematical operation on an, if you do a mathematical operation on any undefined variable, your result will be none, which means not a number. Okay, none means not a number. So if we do the mathematical operation on this type of undefined variables, the result will be none, which is not a number. If you concatenate, which means we join the string with the undefined variable like this, you will get the literal string undefined. Initialize the three variables. Okay, what we have did here is initialize the three variables a, b, c with 5, 10 and IMO respectively, so that they will be not defined. Okay, so these all type of things are not good in these are not the good practices or the best practices, because what we are doing is we are adding the undefined variable with the uh, we are doing mathematical operation on these undefined variables, so which will create, okay, which will create the variable result, the nan, which is not a number. And if you concatenate the same undefined variable, okay, undefined variable with the string, it will give the literal string of undefined. So this is the downside. So you should not do that. So what you have to do here is only change code below above this line. So you have to only uh, do in this. So a should be defined and evaluated to have the value of 6. So what we can do is give it a 6. So b should be defined and evaluated to have the value of 15. So b should be given at the 15. Now if this is also the integer, okay, this is the integer, uh, and this is b, variable a is also integer, variable b is also integer. So we are performing here the integer operations, we are performing mathematical operation in both of the integers. Okay, so now it will not give the what, the undefined or the not a number. Now again we have to so C should have contain, should not contain undefined, and should have the value of the IM string. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, simply, so not, I have to copy this. So what we can do is C give the double quotation. In JavaScript you can use single quotation or the double quotation also. So I am here using the double quotation, which is the best practice, because here also you use the double quotation. So you can write here is I am so if this string c, variable c with the string is concatenated with the space then string, so it will give the it will be best. So a should be defined and evaluated to have the value 6. Okay, so initialize the three variables a, b, c with 5, 10 records, so that so we can here do is, so a should be defined and evaluated to have the value 6. So how we can do that is we can do 5 and here we can do 15. Okay, so here also initialize the three variable with a respectively. So a with 5, b with 10. Okay, a with 5, b with 10. The errors also showed that these two are not working. The only c I am string is working, which is I am all, which is good, but the values were wrong because we want to be evaluated to have the value 6. So 5 plus 1 6, 10 plus 5 15. If you run the test, it is good. Now we can go to the next challenge. So understanding the case sensitivity in the variables, how the case matters in the variables declaration on the JavaScript. So in JavaScript all variables are, and functions names are case sensitive. Okay, they are sensitive. This means that capitalization and the small letters really matters. So my var, which is full uppercase, is not the same as the this this type of this type of or the this type of initialization. It is possible to have multiple distinct variable with the same name but the different casing. So we can declare these these into the different three variables. It is strongly recommended that for the sake of the clarity you do not use this language features. So you should not use these features. So it is possible to have the distinct variable with the same name but different casing. Okay, this is the feature, this is the bug type feature. Okay, you can call it so, but you should not use this for the sake of the clarity, and it is not the best practice. So what is the best practice? So write the variable names in the JavaScript in camel case. So writing the name variables name in JavaScript in the camel case. What is the camel case? You can see in here what is the camel case. In camel case, multi-word variable name have the first word in lowercase, same like this. The first letter is in lowercase and the first letter of each subsequent word is capitalized. After that, everything is capitalized. The first letter of other word is capitalized. So I can do in here. So some example you can hear, there are the examples. I do not have to type and show you. So some variable, so the first letters for so first words, the the first letter of the first word is small, but the subsequent word of the uh, subsequent first letter of the next word is capitalized. So similarly that another with the a small, variable with the v capital. Okay, and the name also capital. So in this variable name is so long, like this you can initialize this. Okay, modify the existing declaration and assignment so their name use camel case. Do not create any new variables. So you should only use this into the camel case. So strictly kept a var should be defined and have the value of 10. Okay, so this is the proper camel case. This, so these are different. So this and these things are different. If we declare it as this and initialize it and like this and declare as this, it will not work. So what we have to do is copy this and subsequently paste the same one. Now the proper, so this is the proper camel case in here. So first letter, so in the camel case, what is in the camel case, multi-word variable names have the first word in lowercase and the first letter of each subsequent word is capitalized. So in this, everything is messed up. I think two letters of the each word are capitalized. So I have to copy this and copy here. This is the same. So similarly, what we have is title case over should have defined and have the value 9000 title case over. So this should be camel case. So title case over. So copy this and copy in here. So proper camel in both declaration assignment section should be camel case in both declaration assignment section. So if you run the test, something not wrong. Study cap. Okay, so these should not be in the um, other cases. So I think I should have declared that. So everything should be in camel case. So study cap var it is. So study cap var like this. So copy this, paste in here. If you run the test again, study. So I'm copying this whole thing and giving in here. So if you run the test, we are good. So you got the thing. So what we did here is initialize every variable with the camel case. So in what is the camel case? So I'm finally what summarizing this. So we are understanding the case sensitivity in the JavaScript variables. So the JavaScript, uh, the all variables and functions are the case sensitive. Okay, so it is in the so JavaScript follows as the best practice in camel case. So in camel case, multi-word variables name at the first word in lowercase and the first letter of the each subsequent word in capitalized. So what we did in here is we we converted the variable name all into the camel case, and we give we we equalize the variable name in here also. So it is highlighted here. So this is also same as this, it is same as this here. So these are assigned to that variable. So finally moving on to the next challenge. So what we have in here is we are adding two numbers with JavaScript. So number is a data type in JavaScript which represent the numerical data. So now let's try to add two numbers using JavaScript. JavaScript uses the plus symbol as an addition operator, which when placed between the two numbers gives the addition of the two numbers. Okay, so this gives the addition of the 10 and 0. Okay, so in here this is the example. The my var now have the value of 15, so we are adding the value of these two and assigning it to the my var variable. Okay, change the 0 so that the sum will equal to the 20. So the variable sum will should be the 20. So I can do, there is 10, so we have not changed this, but we have to change the 0 so that it becomes the sum, variable sum becomes 10. So we can do 10 10 so it will be 20. If we run the test, we go on to the next challenge. So now we are doing the subtract one number from another JavaScript. Okay, same as the addition, this is the subtraction. We can also subtract one number from another. JavaScript uses the minus symbol for subtraction. For example, my var 12 minus 6, my var would have the value 6 because 12 minus 6 and it is assigned to the my var. Change the 0 so that the difference is 12. How we can do that? 45. Okay, 45. So we have to do a 12. How we can do that is I should 33. If we run the test, we got this. Next, so similarly multiplication of the two number with the JavaScript, we can also multiply one number by another. JavaScript uses the asterisk symbol for multiplication of the two numbers. Example, 13 into 13. So I think 13 into 13 is 169. Okay, yeah, here is given 14 into 14 196. So my var would have the value 169. So change the 0 so that the product will equals to 80. So there is 8, so we have to change this so that the product variable becomes the 80. So we can give 10, so it will be 80. If you run the test, go on to the next challenge. So similarly, divide one number by another with the JavaScript. So we can also divide one number by another. JavaScript uses this forward slash symbol slash. I don't know whether this is the forward or backward. I think this is the backward, okay, or the forward. So the slash symbol for the division example. So example, my variable 16 divided by 2. So 2 is dividing 16. Okay, so the my value will be the 8. So 8 2 8 ja 8 times 2 equals to 16. Change the 0 so then the quotient is equal to 2. Quotient is equal to 2. So the remaining should be the 2. Okay, the variable quotient should be equal to 2. Okay, quotient. You should use the slash operator. So how we can do that is, I think 2 is a 33. 33 divided into 2 is a 66. If we run the test, it is good. So go on to the next challenge. So increment or number with the JavaScript, you can easily increment or add one to a variable with the plus plus operator, which is the increment operator. So I plus plus equals to I is equals to I plus 1. So what was already in there, add into 1 into it. Okay, whatever was there, add in 1 in there, just like this. The entire line becomes I plus plus, eliminating the need of the equal to sign. So these and these are the same, but we are only eliminating these two and plus plus. Okay, so change the code to use plus plus operator on my var. Okay, so what, so it is also doing the, so this is 87. Okay, it is pointing to there. So always the expressions, okay, expressions is the combinations of operators and operands. These are the operators, these are the operands, sorry, these are the operands, the my var and 1. So where we are performing the operation, and these are the operators which are doing that, which are making us easy to perform the operation. And this is also the operator which is the assignment operator. Okay, so in my, so always in the expression from the left side, it is calculated from the left side. So what one is adding to the my var, which is the 87, so it becomes the 88 already, and it is again assigned to the my var, so the my var now becomes the 88. So should be equal to 88. You should not use the assignment operator, so we should not use this type of assignment operator. Okay, and you should use the plus plus operator. You should not change the code of the specified command. You should only change the code of the operator. So my var, if you give the plus plus, it is the same as the previous one. If you run the test, it is good. Now we can go on to the next challenge. So now the decrement operator, it is the same like the increment operator. You can easily decrement or decrease the variable by 1. So these are only doing 1. Okay, if you think if we have the minus minus minus, then it will decrease the value by 3, not it is just decreasing the value by 1 with the minus minus operator. So it is equivalent to I, whatever was in there, subtract it by 1. Just the entire line becomes I minus minus, eliminating the need of the equation. Change the code to use minus minus operator on the variable. So what we have to do, so it becomes the 10 if you have this also. So we have to not use the these what assignment operators. So what we can do is this variable should decrease or decrement by just 1. So this is good. Run the test. What Mr. var I have written my var, I'm sorry. So if you run the test, go on to the next challenge. So create decimal numbers with JavaScript. Okay, we can store decimal number in variables too. So in the variable our decimal, we are we are we are assigning the decimal point variables in here. So we can store decimal value in variables too. Decimal numbers are sometimes refers to as a floating numbers or the floats. So these are called as floating numbers or as floats in other programming languages also, like the C, Java. Okay, not all real numbers can accurately be represented in floating number. This can lead to the rounding errors. Not all real numbers can accurately be represented in the floating numbers. This can lead into the rounding errors. So these things will be creating some problem. So if you want to read the details, so something like that. Okay, so if we also add the 0.0, the fact the floating numbers cannot be also precisely represented as real numbers, and the floating points operation cannot be represent through arithmetic operation, leads to surprising situation that is related. So you can read these things, so it will affect. Okay, it will not give the same result as you thought. So like that. So create a variables decimal 1 and gives it. So what we have to do is create a variable my decimal. So here is the our decimal. Now what we have to do is create a new variable, which is the my decimal. So this is the camel case, which is JavaScript best practice for declaring a variable. So we can minimize the case sensitivity. Okay, and give it the decimal value of with the fractional part 5.7, like that. My decimal should be a number. My decimal should have the decimal point. So if you run the test, it is good. So multiplying the two decimal numbers with the JavaScript, what happens if you multiply two decimal numbers with JavaScript? In JavaScript, you can also perform the calculations within the decimal numbers, just like the whole numbers. Let's multiply two decimal numbers together to get their products. So change the 0.0 so that the product is equals to 5.0. How we can do that is, so if we do 2.5, okay, so if you run the test, the variable product should equal, so I think 2.5 or so change the 0.0 so that the product will equals to 5.0. So I think 2.5. If you run the test, it is good. So what we are doing is we are using the two decimal numbers to assign the product, to give the product variable, which is the number variable, the 5.0. So now dividing one decimal numbers by another with JavaScript. Now divide the one decimal by another, change the 0 point so the quotient will equal to 2.2. 2.2. So 2.2, change this line, the variable quotient should equal, you should use the to divide 4.4 by, so if we give 4 in here, then it is 2, and after that the 4 will be the 2. The quotient should not, the quotient variable should only be assigned once, just like that. So these are the things we can do in the point, which is the floats, okay, point variable, decimal point variables. So now the finding the remainder in JavaScript, okay. So remainder operator, which is the this percentile symbol, gives the remainder of the division of the two numbers. Okay, like if we divide 5 by 2, then it is 2 times 2, which is 4, and 1 is remaining, so 1 is the remainder. If we do math.float 5 divided by 2, 2 quotient, okay, 2 is y quotient, so 2 is the divisible, 2 is divisible, okay. So if you do 2 into 2 equals to 4, 5 minus 4 equals to 1, which is the remainder usage. So in mathematics, a number can be checked to be even or odd by checking the remainder of the division of the number by 2. So if it is not divisible by 2, then it is odd. So it is not divisible by 2 because it is not giving the 0 quotient, it is giving, so no, so it is not giving the 0 remainder, so it is giving sometimes 1, sometimes 2 remainder, that is 1 remainder, okay. So it is not exactly divisible by 2, then it is odd. If it is exactly divisible by 2 and has the remainder 0, then it is even. So 48 is even, 17 is odd. Note the remainder operators is sometimes incorrectly referred to as a modulus operator. It is very similar to the modulus operator but does not work properly with the negative numbers, okay. So it will not, so it is not similar to the modulus. Set a remainder equals to the remainder of 11 divided by 3 using the remainder percentage operator. So we have declared the variable in here, the remainder. So now what we have to do, we can do in the first line also now. So the value of should be remainder should be 2, so remainder is equals to 11 divided by 3, okay. So divided by 3, it will give 3 3s are 9 and 2 remainder, but it will only give the 3, okay, because how 3 point something, because what is its times this, but if you give percentage, it will give the remainder. If you run the test, it is good. Now compound assignment with augmented addition. So in programming, it is common to use assignments to modify the contents of the variable. Okay, remember that everything to the right of the equal sign is evaluated first. So you can say, so at the right side is evaluated first. To add 5 to my var, okay, since this is such a common pattern, there are operators which will do both there are operators which do both a mathematical operation and assignment in one step. Okay, so remember that everything in the to the right of the equal sign is evaluated first. To add 5 to the my var, since this is such a common pattern, there are operators which can do both. So this is the common thing we have to do in the program. So we have the um, we have the we have declared the, and we have here the built-in another operator which do the operation and assignment in the one steps. One such operator is plus is equals to operator. So wherever my var is equals to 1, my var plus is equals to 5, which is same as this. So uh, adding 5 with my variable which is 1. So this is, if you console log this in the console of the Chrome browser, it will give the 6 will be displayed in the console. Convert the assignments for a, b, c to use the plus is equals to operator. So in this a is equals to, so uh, it will give the 15. So this also give the 15. So it plus and equals to this. So this will give b is equals to 9 plus b. In the b we are adding the 9. So what we can do is delete. What we can do is plus is equals to, okay, sorry, plus is equals to 9, like this. Similarly, c plus is equals to 7, like this. So it is whatever in here is a, that is adding and assigning in here. 12 is adding and assigning again into the a. Convert, so a should be equal to 15, b should be equal to 26, c should be equal to 19, plus is equals to operator. You should not modify the code above. Okay, so you should only modify the below this. So you should run the test. We can move on to the next challenge. So similarly, compound assignment with augmented subtraction, like as plus is equals to minus is equals to subtract the number from the variable, we subtract. So this will subtract 5 from the my var. This can be rewritten as the my var minus equals to, convert this also into same thing. So what we can do is 11 minus 6 we have to do. So here also 9 minus 15, which will give the minus 6. Here also 3 minus 1 is equals to 2. If you run the test, we can go on to the next challenge. So augmented multiplication is also same in here. Okay, compound assignment with augmented multiplication. The star multiplication operator multiplies a variable by the number. So this my var into multiply by 5, to multiply my var by 5. This can be written as this, as such. So this time I am copying this and pasting in here. So similarly 5 5 is 25 in here, 12 3 is 6. So b equation 12 3 is 36 in here. So in here also 4.6 into 10 is 46. So if you run the test, so this also written in here the steps. If you run the test, go on to the next challenge. Now compound assignment with the augmented division, similar to the multiplication, augmented multiplication. The for slash is equals to operator divides a variable by the another number, so whatever in here will be divided by 5. So this also my variable will be divided by 5 and assigned to the my variable also. Again convert the, so I'm copying this. So in here 48 is divided by 12 and the result is assigned to the A. So 108 is divided by 4 and again assign the result with to the B. So 11 3, so C is equal, so A is equals to 4, B is equals to 27 and C is equals to 3. 11 3 is a 33. So C now what will be the output in here is C is equals to 3, like this. Okay, now after that when you will be using C as a 3, if you run the test, submit. Now the declaration of the string variables. So previously we have used the code. So my variable, my name is equals to my name. Your name is called string literals. Okay, your full name in the double quotation is called the string literals. It is string because it is a series of zeros of more characters enclosed in a single or the double quotes. Okay, it is a series of the. So what is string? Is a string is the array of characters. Okay, string is the array of characters, like that. So which means zeros and the more characters which is enclosed in the single or the double quotations. So create two new string variable, my first name and my last name, and assign them a value, your first and the last name respectively. So we have to create the variable name by this. So var and this, and my first name is this, in case you didn't know. And my similarly we have to use another variable like this, and in here we have to do like this, the last name. So first name should be string, at least one character in it, should have the string at least one character in it. If you run the test, I think it will not run because it is not a string, it will be as it not defined. Okay, so what is the string is? String is like this inside of single or the double quotation, so we can do the single quotation also. So if you run the test, you can go on to the next challenge. So escaping the literal quotes in string. So these are the what these are the escape literal quotes. Okay, when you are defining a string, you must start and end with a single or the double quote. Okay, what happens when you need a literal quotes like this or this inside of your string? Okay, inside of this also what we have, sometimes we need this type of things. Okay, in JavaScript you can escape a code from considering it as the end of the string code by placing on the backslash. Okay, this is the backslash in front of the code. Where sample Alan said. So what, so if in there it was not this escape backslash, okay, what it will consider this as a string and it will terminate and it will give some type of error. Okay, this is, so to escape from this you should use the backslash in front of that thing. Similarly in here, so it will work now as a string only. This signals the JavaScript that the following code is not the end of the string but should instead appear inside the string. So if you were to print this in the console, you would get Alan said, so it will get this similar. Okay, what you wanted to print, so it will give like this. this into this. Use backslash to assign the string to the my string variable, so that if you were to print it to the console you would see like this. So if I want to see like this, what we have to do, first of all I am copying this whole thing in here. So I am also, what it is doing is, it is only thinking that is a string. So what we have to do is give it a black backslash. Now it is thinking till here, because this also again thinking that this is only the string. Again here, back, again here, again here. So I think everything was good. You should use the two double quotes and four escape double quotes. So 4 1 2 3 4 should contain the string. I am a double quoted string inside the double quotes. Okay, I am a double quoted string inside double quotes. If you run the test, submit and go on to the next error. So quoting string with the single quotes. So string values in JavaScript may be written with the single or the double quotes as long as you start and end with the same type of code. Either you can use the single quote or double quote, but you have to start and end with the same type of code you started with. So unlike some other programming language, single and double quotation works the same in JavaScript. This is same as in other programming language. So double quotation string, this is the single quotation string. This is also a string. This is also a string by the JavaScript. The reason why you might want to use one type of quote over the other if you want to use both in a string. This might happen if you want to save the conversation in the string and have the conversation in a quote. Another use it for would be saving an anchor tag with various attributes in quotes like that, all within the string. So like this, Finn exclaims to Jake, and inside of this algebraic in double quotation. However, this becomes a problem if you need to use the outermost quotes within it. Remember, the string has the same kind of quotes at the beginning and the ending, but if you have the that same quote somewhere in the middle, the string would stop early and throw an error. Good string. So if you start by the single, then you should have ended, you should end with the single string, and inside of where it comes the same type of thing, you should escape it by escape sequence, escape quotes with the backslash. Now the bad string is in here, we have not escaped it like that. Here bad string will throw an error. This will absolutely throw an error. In the good string above, you can use both quotes safely by using the escape character. The backslash should not be confused with the forward slash. They do not do the same thing. Okay, this backslash will not do the same thing. So for the escaping purpose, we should only use the backslash. The backslash change the provided string to a string with the single quotes at the beginning and ending, and no escape characters, and no escape characters. So in here what we have is, for the ahref tag also we have the double quotation. So we have to do the single quotation at the end. In this type of thing, it change the provided string to a string with a single quotation at the beginning and ending, and no escape characters. So there are, I think, no escape character, because so in here goes to in here, so there are no escape characters because everything inside this will be the Okay, no escape character. So now I do not have to escape these characters in here because it will change the link like this. So right now the say a tag in the string is double quotation everywhere. You need to change the outer quotes to single quotes, and you can remove the escape. You should remove all the backslashes. You should use the two single quotation and four double quotes. Okay, so two and 1 2 3 4. So if you run the test, go on to the next challenge. So escape sequence in strings. So let's take the small break in here because from here we'll be uh, doing about the escape sequence. Let's take some break in here because it is already 1 hour, and we'll do the 1 minute or the 2 minute break and we'll come up in here. So I'm breaking my stream in here